Hi, I'm John Street, Turfgrass Extension and Research Specialist for Ohio State University. And today we want to talk about renovation. Certainly it's been a long, hot summer. And I have my pills sitting here, and I'm sure you may have some pills sitting on your desk as a result of that. It's brought a lot of headaches to a lot of different people this year. One of the main causes of damage this year, of course, has been due to the drought. Some of our grasses have simply not made it through the summer due to the extensive heat and dry weather. We have lost grass, so you need obviously to be making an assessment of that. Another, though, that's been a key problem that kind of is confusing with drought damage is certain types of insect damage, and Dr. Shetler has talked about this, I think, extensively this fall. But bill bug damage has been extensive. So those are probably the two major problems that have caused the death of turf this year. In either case, if the turf is not recovering, there are certain things, obviously, from a renovation standpoint we need to consider. First of all, of course, you need to consider if the turf is indeed dead through drought, bill bug, or other causes. If it is not, then you can institute a good, strong fertilization program to bring that turf back. This is a photo of a turf that is essentially about 50 to 60% recovering, and I think in this case, with the good distribution of grass, Kentucky bluegrass in this photo, a good fertilization program could potentially bring it back. You could go in and slit seed or overseed into this area and assist in getting it back a little bit sooner, but I think you could get it back with a good fall fertilization program. With regard specifically then to renovation, if the lawn is severely damaged and it has a lot of weeds and other undesirable grasses, one of the approaches that you would need to consider would be the use of Roundup to completely kill the lawn, kill the grass and the weeds, and then come in and completely reseed the lawn. So that's one option that you have. That's the extreme. The second option would be if the lawn is in decent shape but there are thin areas and you recognize that it's not going to recover in a reasonable amount of time, then of course you can go into an overseeding program, and you have two approaches for overseeding without Roundup. And one of those approaches is dethatching, and we have a photo of a dethatcher here. You're simply going in with vertical tines and disrupting the surface of the turf so that you can introduce seed. In general, I say that you need to at least expose 30% of the soil when you're utilizing the dethatching process prior to overseeding. When you dethatch, obviously, as you see in the photo, you are bringing up a considerable amount of debris that you're going to have to remove. The second approach, the approach I like best, is slit seating. And here you see a photo of a slit seeder. And simply, in this particular case, you have vertical tines creating slits, and then seed is dropped into those slits so that you ensure a very good seed-soil contact. The 30% exposure rule with dethatching is also to ensure that you get good seed-soil contact. In either one of these renovation processes, whether you use the dethatching approach or the slit seeding approach, seed-soil contact is the key. If you don't get good seed-soil contact, you're not going to have good success. Another approach would be if you also feel in the renovation that the soil is compacted or not very desirable, a heavy clay soil, you could go in with aeration prior to the overseeding process. And this is an example of an aerator, and you're producing openings or holes and bringing soil to the surface. And in this particular case, you want to go over the lawn if you're going to aerate it for compaction purposes or to help make the soil a little more desirable in several different directions. You need to produce at least 12 to 15 holes per square foot. That's the standard recommendation. From the standpoint of post-seeding maintenance then, of course, a good fall fertilization program is critical. If you're seeding, it's always advisable to use a starter fertilizer. An example would be a 12-12-12. But if you're in a situation where you're just trying to stimulate lawn recovery and get fill-in, then you can go with a maintenance fertilizer. There's no need for a starter fertilizer, a 1-1-1-1-2-1 ratio fertilizer. Stick with a standard maintenance fertilizer. That's quite acceptable, and that would be something high in N, low in phosphorus, and low to moderate in potassium. Of course, it would be advisable if the client can irrigate, to have them irrigate every few days to keep the surface moist. Certainly in the slit seeding process, the seed is inserted into the soil, so there's a much greater opportunity for that to germinate and develop with somewhat limited moisture. That is probably it. So you have some decisions you have to make. One would be, if the lawn is fairly decent but thin, get onto an aggressive fertilization program this fall, and a maintenance fertilizer would be quite acceptable. If you need to renovate and reseed, if the lawn is in severe condition, you can go with Roundup and then completely reseed it with one of the renovation methods we mentioned, or you can go to the dethatching or the slit seeding process. The final thing would be selecting a turf grass species. And of course, you'd want to select a species that is presently in the lawn, in the existing lawn. If it's tall fescue, you use tall fescue. If it's Kentucky bluegrass, you use Kentucky bluegrass, etc. I hope you have a successful fall, and I hope if you have to renovate, your renovation processes are successful, and we'll see you next time.